My name is Prince Apollo. I'm pleased to have you as the audience out there. And I specifically have to appreciate those who do not miss the dialogue, those who interact with us in that time of feedback. You send in your comments and observations. Well, we appreciate your time and your contribution. We hope you had a pleasant week. And looking back at the major events, we still commiserate with the families who lost their loved ones in the tragedy that befell the people of Elgon region, specifically the Bulambuli landslides that hit the region last week. And the latest update is that more than 30 bodies have been retrieved and many more are missing. It is estimated that around 1,500 people have been affected by this tragedy, and indeed we commiserate with those who lost their loved ones. We will also look at other major events, especially the case that is in the court martial. Dr. Kizabesje and Haji Obed Rutale are still in incarceration after the court martial did not proceed to hear their bail application. There was a back and forth on whether the defense lawyers had the practicing certificates to proceed with the proceedings of the court. But indeed, we again wait until December 10th when they will be back in court. And questions now are rising on whether this could turn out to be a landmark case that will reshape the jurisdiction of the General Court Martial in Uganda. And indeed, another question that is arising as of now is that whether this controversial case has put the Supreme Court on trial, especially after the delayed verdict of the Supreme Court following the Constitutional Court appeal that was filed by the Attorney General in 2021. 3 to 4 years down the road, no verdict has been delivered, and now looking at the how the circumstances playing out in this case, it raises that question of whether the Supreme Court can now pronounce itself on this matter and it is settled once and for all. My name is Prince Apollo once again. Welcome back. Welcome to the show once again. Baguma Richard is already here with us. As usual, it's an honor, it's a privilege to have Richard Baguma, a communication expert, a strong advocate for proper nutrition, an advocate for good health in the studios. As always, happy to have you on the dialogue this morning.
Yes, Apollo, good morning. As always, God first. I thank God for giving us life and being the ever forgiving. Yeah, we are thankful to God for that. I also thank the viewers, the people who keep with us. We thank you very much. We thank you for your feedback. Keep it going. Yeah, it helps us to also keep going. And the management, you see, ideation, but also to have a vision. And also deliver on that vision.
Sure.
We don't all do. We have a lot of visions and ideas. They just die like that. So to have Salt Media and Salt Television, I think we need to keep thanking people.
How was your week like?
The week has been relatively tight. Yeah, it was a relatively tight. We have this is what I've dedicated my life to, really. Trying to get our young people to get voices in spaces where decisions are made, whether it's nationally, locally, or globally. So one of the programs that we have been running is called the African United Nations Youth Delegates. Is to get young people to participate in, to raise their voices really in global processes, particularly issues to do with the UN. Now, you know the Sustainable Development Goals are ending in 2030. So the world has been working on another program. It's called the Pact for the Future. So the Pact for the Future was approved or adopted by all the countries in the UN General Assembly this September. But in order to have youth voices, we have been working in 6 countries with our German friends. It's 6 African countries: Kenya, Tanzania, South Sudan, Sudan, Ethiopia, ourselves, to have these participate in all these processes at country level, and we have been taking them to New York to participate. So we have finished 2 years now. So this week we were in Addis Ababa at the UN Economic Commission for Africa with all these young people from all these countries and their mentors and what, to discuss how do we take this program forward. So it was a very exciting time for me in Addis Ababa.
That's amazing. Well, Richard Bagumati Kasimire, communication expert. We will miss the presence of Dr. Willie Wanzara, who has been taken up by serious assignments out there.
So the syndrome has...
Yeah.
The Baguma syndrome has entered him properly now. Eh? He should be in Burambuli with his kins and kids.
It's a tragedy. Well, before we kick off the debate, Richard, one comment from you this week in Parliament. The Equal Opportunities Commission had sought information about the emoluments of members of Parliament and parliamentary staff, but the Speaker of Parliament told them off that they are overstepping their mandate. They should not be actually asking for anything about salaries or emoluments of MPs, because MPs are not civil servants, MPs are not under public service. They should know their level. Just a comment before we move on, because it looked like maybe the information the Equal Opportunities Commission was looking for perhaps was, there was suspicion it was maybe, I don't know, others are saying what would be wrong? I mean, diverging information about the emoluments of members of Parliament or parliamentary staff.
You know, I don't understand. I sometimes I just don't understand. I think one needs to get into political office maybe to understand some things. You see, Parliament has differing definitions. One is where you have the highest level of lawmaking. That's a body, highest level of lawmaking. So there is a time when our Parliament casts itself as that, as the highest body of lawmaking. But you see, Parliament is also a group of rooks or owls. It's also called a Parliament.
Yeah, it's also called.
There are also times when our Parliament casts itself as a group of owls or rooks.
What do you try?
I mean, just imagine a group of owls in the wild. How do they behave? Or rooks. When you put a C in front of rooks, they become crooks. So there are times when Parliament casts itself with dignity and, you know, deserving a body, highest body of legislative. Then there is where rarely you see a group of, you know, like a collection of the other birds or those animals in the wild. You see, Parliament has a deep deficit of trust. And this is expressed in the failure to return. Huge percentage, though they don't come back.
The attrition rate.
Yeah, the attrition rate. And there are certain things that reinforce this. So it's the payment of Parliament is public. So if another body gets the information, so what? What will they change? But we go into mandates, power,
The Speaker
blah,
of
blah.
Parliament was emphasizing the independence of Parliament, self-accounting body, that the Equal Opportunities Commission was poking their nose into other people's business.
Yeah, I told you. When Parliament is behaving like the other correction of the other birds, they go legalistic. They go. But Parliament is open.
Okay.
They will bring children to become speaker. Haven't they brought children to be speaker and be speaker for it? So is that the public poking? That makes them look good. Yeah, that will come. When you ask about money, they all run. No, we earn 11 million. No, you don't earn 11 million. You're not talking to.
Well,
So the money that parliamentarians get, they know the money for cars, they know it is their entitlement, they get it. So why do they start panicking when it is talked about? It's their money.
thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just a comment, and we are privileged to have Honorable Mugore Stephen, Member of Parliament from Kabweri County, Chibuku District, and I will ask him to speak to our viewers before he makes a comment on a matter that Baguma has
Commented on.
and looked like Parliament is hiding something.
And there's nothing to it.
Speak to our viewers, Honorable Mugore.
I would like to thank you, first of all, for inviting me once again in this dialogue, and my brother Baguma. Thank you for the comments you've made so far. As said by the name of David Stephen, Member of Parliament, Kabweri County, I want to greet my people. Thank you very much for whatever you've been doing in my absence. I just arrived last night. I've been away for a week or so in serious regional committee meetings. I head the East African IUF, a section of the trade union that constitutes 12 countries. I'm the titular head.
Oh, wow.
So I have been in a meeting in Nairobi that has taken a week.
Wow. Welcome back.
And I'm back on the soil.
You're back, but
during that time of my absence, we got a storm.
Yeah, we saw it.
Terrible in my constituency. I've been trying to do everything possible to make ends meet. I am around. I'm going to come onto the ground. We also lost our former council member for Parliament, former chairman of the Greater Palisa, former RDC, by the name of Bob Wasugiria, whose burial will take place on Tuesday. God willing, I will attend the burial myself, and also attend a special council meeting on Monday, which is going to draw all the 4 districts together that he was heading as Greater Palisa.
Well, it was so touching to see those pictures coming in from your home area.
Yes.
But we'll talk about that when we speak about disasters and the management of those disasters. Quickly, it's a comment. Why is UMPs or the leadership of Parliament becoming a sticky issue, speaking about your salaries or your emoluments?
First of all, Baguma tried to say that it is like these oils. Other people may not know the oils, but oils are very bad omen birds. That when they make a noise at night at your home, they are signifying that somebody is about to die in that home. So if it was really possible, he would withdraw.
No. you're saying what you're saying
He
is
would
true.
withdraw.
A group of owls is called the parliament.
That's what it's called. A group of owls or rooks. It's in English.
In our culture, an owl is a very bad omen. Bad.
In ours too.
Yes. So, but that said, what I want to say is everybody is cagey about his salary. Everybody. But as far as Parliament, Parliament is the spotlight, and there would be no problem. And it is not that people don't know what parliamentarians are.
Why should people be cagey about information relating to their salaries?
Yeah, because whenever
Especially
whenever
those
you
who are
mention
paid,
it, whenever
who
you
are
mention,
paid from taxpayers' money.
yeah, whenever you mention it, it brings public outrage, outcry. How can this executive director earn 45 million shillings? Not knowing
Maybe if
what
it is too huge.
Yeah, they always complain when it is too huge and when it is too small.
In a notion of
Yes.
people who are
A
languishing.
salary which is too small, people complain. Why are they giving them such very little money? When it is too high, they complain. And the members of parliament are part of the people who earn a higher
True.
salary.
True.
11 million shillings is not little salary, even if you stopped at that.
Baguma said it can't be 11.
That is the salary. The others are emoluments. The salary is 11 million shillings. The others are emoluments.
So what?
And listen.
What was so difficult for the either clerk
Because that's not the
to
role of,
divulge that information?
that is not the role of equal opportunities. Why equal opportunities is even under the Ministry of Gender is looking at the genderization of that emolument. Is it because what are you going to find out? Because a member of parliament, whether a woman or a male or a minister, all of them get the same salary because all ministers are sworn in as members of parliament, even when he's not a directly elected member of parliament. So he earns the salary of a member of parliament. And it is public knowledge. Then why do you say we want it? What are you going to do with it? With a salary that is equal. It does not look at, because this one is a woman, is getting less, the other is a man, is getting more, or vice versa. That would be the role of Equal Opportunities Commission.
Isn't it public information, that one too?
Yeah, so if it is public information, why would they want...
They wanted it from an authority, the clerk's office in parliament.
The leader of parliament is the speaker. The leader of parliament administration is the clerk. If the clerk and the speaker say no, we believe that what they have done on behalf of members of parliament is the right one.
Okay.
But according to me also is to look at what are the principal roles of Equal Opportunities Commission.
Okay.
Actually, that belief is it is contestable. I want to tell Honorable Mugore that the belief you assert that what the leaders of parliament do that we think is right, it is very contestable.
In regard to that,
We really doubt. We really do. And we have expressed our doubts repetitively. And we even express it during when we vote. 80% don't come back. It is really an expression.
Okay.
But sorry.
an expression to what?
An
to
expression.
the members of parliament or to the clerk or to the speaker?
Everyone, it's the house. It's the house. It's the same house. What the voters can do is usually.
But Mugore, I am
really,
sure,
Parliament has to do a lot to restore some trust.
I'm sure you appreciate that that decision leaves suspicion.
Yes.
That indeed you Parliament are hiding something. You're not being open.
For example, Parliament would have reacted. For example, would have said, whereas giving you our salaries and emoluments does not constitute your principal role.
Exactly. But this is the information.
But this is the information.
That is
However, this information is not for you, is not for you to use it as if you have now taken over the role of Parliament.
Yeah. That's okay. That
would be okay. Because Parliament is really an institution of its own.
Yes.
But I suppose, Have they got the same from the judiciary? That's the other question we have to ask Equal Opportunities Commission.
Yeah, but
have I got the same from judiciary?
But that comes later. That comes later.
And because we are the ones who passed the law, we know what role we have given Equal Opportunities Commission. So if it oversteps its mandate, it must be told that you have overstepped your mandate. The role we gave you is to do A, B, C, D, up to here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Stephen Mugore, Member of Parliament for Kabweri County. We hope to be joined by Honorable Barnabas Tinkasimire, Buyaga West MP, and Richard Bakuma, a communication expert, is in the studio to give us that analysis on these major events. Let's go straight now to our main topics for discussion this morning. We look back quickly at the government response to the disaster in Elgon region. This week, the Prime Minister, Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, made it clear that government is now planning to evacuate more than 5,000 people who are in risk prone areas of Elgon region. We understand that this is not the first time government is coming out with an evacuation plan for people in that area. It happened way back in areas of Bududa, but finally we are told people came back. So we ask questions: are these strategies really working out when people continue to die? And luckily, Stephen Mugore is a member of Parliament, not from the Elgon, but from the Teso. Is it Teso?
No.
Bukedi region. And he can ably understand the dynamics around that region and possibly what could be the problem. Honorable Mugole, tell us what you think as government plans now again to relocate money to have residents resettled. But it is not the first time. What is happening?
Yeah, I would like first of all to tell my people, first of all in my constituency, before I go to the Bugis region, in my constituency, myself, one sub-county called Kagum, its trading center, schools were swept by a storm. I think just today is Saturday, last Friday. And that was after the landslide in the Bugisu area. My constituency is just 40 kilometers away from Bale. And I can tell you it is disastrous. I condole with my people. We lost lives. We lost a lot of property. Animals, certain gardens were swept. I have a secondary school which was swept, a primary school, churches, and very many homesteads. During my absence, I tried to make aid as a person, though the office of the Prime Minister and that of disaster preparedness are aware. I will be having a report on Monday that will come to the office of the Prime Minister and her disaster preparedness state ministers. I did an emergency which government should be doing immediately and supplied 200 packets of posho to families that were seriously hit. Some of the families are residing in churches and certain schools. All the pictures are available. That is in Kabweri constituency. Before I go now to the major disaster of the landslide area, we have not been getting such serious storms in our area, but now they have started, and could be to a number of reasons, either land degradation because of overpopulation. But this Monday, I will be able to physically meet some of the people concerned to see what can actually be done. But that's the area we'll be also talking about, of what actually can be
Honorable,
done.
Honorable, you are now presenting a scenario of a disaster.
Yes, I wanted to start with that, then go to the generic question which you have said.
Yes.
Because I was saying, to what I will explain, whether what is that must be done, or what is that should have been done even before all these disasters. The occurrence, for example, of the landslides in the Bugisu region didn't start yesterday. They have been there time immemorial. Government has even one time, in fact twice, relocated the people from the Bugisu region to Kiryandongo. There is a number of people there who have been resettled from the Bugisu region. And whenever that occurrence comes, government comes and says, we shall resettle people. Sometimes they try to resettle and the very people go back. Because they say east-west home is best. People fight to be where their cradle land is. Government would put like an embargo that once you have been settled from here, there is no going back there. Because once government decides something, as long as it is emphatic on it, but I think there has been also a sluggishness in taking this as a strong measure that once we have removed people, because you find that the landslides are always in that very region. And you find people who were resettled, who were removed from that place, again they had gone back, and again they were washed. So to answer your question generally, you are saying government is saying this time.
This time.
It has said always. Government has said always. What we need to do is, I think, government saying, without putting regulations, without having a specific law in regard to that particular aspect, then that will be hearsay. Because they say and stops there. I can give you the example of River Tangi in West Nile.
Which burst its banks.
Yeah. Is this the first time? From the time the road to the national park was constructed, I think there was some blockage of where the river diverts its waters when the River Nile has risen. But what does government do? Government has done not so much, I can say. It waits when it bursts, when the river bursts, it will take 1 or 2 days and the water goes away. But government will have come and said, true, we are going to do A, B, C, D. That has not yet been done. So whereas I'm part of government, I must be emphatic.
So you admit there has been weakness.
There is.
Not only weakness, but negligence on side of government and authorities in managing these disasters.
The Constitution is very clear that we shall have a disaster management fund. The law to do it, we should have done it long time. There is no disaster management fund which this could have been collected.
Okay.
Just like you said, the road fund, this is the money that must just be there. But money, whenever there is a disaster, so if to say we are prepared, we are not.
We are not prepared.
If we are prepared, then there would be money. That should any disaster come, you will just rush to that. But again, you have to write to the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness. Prime Minister's office, they have to do a budget, send it to Ministry of Finance, then money is, you can see the process. Now, people who have been hit, who cannot have food, where will they get the food? And yet it is said, food items will be got from government directly.
Not from Mugore's pocket.
No, from government.
Okay.
Mugore does. Mugore gets from his pocket to give as just a drop in an ocean. Just to make sure that the people, at least for 1 day, 2, 3, 4 days, as government does something, they have something to put in their stomach.
Thank you, Honorable. Let me listen from Richard. And Richard, we dedicated good time to this topic last week. But now I need your comment, especially after Mugore's submission. He is a victim himself of circumstances, of the situation, because he had to dig deep into his pocket to help the victims of a disaster, and he admits that this is negligence. He admits that this is a sign of weakness from the authorities.
No.
We spent a very good part of last week's program speaking about this.
We agreed on several things. At least we're all in agreement. One,
That climate change is real. It's real.
and so
That is something.
we cannot hide from. We also agreed that it is worsening. We didn't know that the Honorable Mugore's
Constituency.
will be hit. We are talking about Buramburi, but we all agreed that it is in the hid areas. It has happened in the Nyamwamba. It was having nowhere to cross. It's coming for us. That one. So that is the first thing that we cannot hide. The second thing we also agree, and the Honorable Mugore has emphasized, is that the first and perhaps most important disaster is our lack of preparedness for disasters. That is a disaster.
Yes. So
We are disastrously unprepared for disasters. I was telling you, Apple, I said, you see, when the group was going for, is it Ubonji River?
from the ministry,
They were told Buramburi has happened. But because it is it's a small group with no resources.
Yeah.
They said, okay, now Ubongi is not going to kill many dramatically, so the drama is in Buramburi. Now let's rush there. So I was telling you, Apollo, okay, so you rushed to Buramburi to do what? Apart from being there, which is also very important, because people need to see that you
Government.
you have cared, yes.
they need to see government, but also they need to see all of us. They need to see us people. If you are a shepherd, if you are you have been pastoring the people, people need to see you care.
Yes.
If you have been a businessman doing business with them, people need to see you care.
So that's important.
But beyond that, so if you tell me that you are sending the people they usually send, that morning again I had spoken to the manager for disaster preparedness for Uganda Red Cross. They are scattered because they have run here, they have run here. So I was telling you, it is as if the Uganda Red Cross is the most important department in the country for disaster preparedness. What do they have? What budget do they have? Yeah, and you see, the lack of preparedness kind of also reflects the lack of will, the inadequate will. We know, we have written this in our documents, government documents. We have agreed that there should be a fund.
Actually,
We have agreed that, but
the minister in charge of disaster preparedness developed a disaster management policy. They have it. All what we are saying is there. Even
Yes.
the contingency fund
absolutely.
is there.
Yeah.
But whenever a disaster strikes, nothing.
We scatter. So that's what I was telling you. And I said, Apollo, the other day, I said, you see, I have also because of the politics the nature of politics that we have. Even I was questioning here. I said, where are the members of parliament from Bugisu region? How come we didn't see a swift statement from members of parliament and push? Because I understand you don't want to be seen to be pushing where you belong. So you have to go to the caucus and, be quiet and be... It takes a bit of Mugore, who is a little, strong-willed, to come and say, no, there is a failure.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was telling you that you'll see action or members of parliament when maybe a noob somebody is doing something. They will all come and make a noise in parliament. Why don't you make now on your people? Tell the government, we belong to you, however, we need quick action.
Here we are. The Prime Minister now says the government is coming out with an evacuation plan to have more than 5,000 people resettled from high-risk areas to more safer areas. What do you expect?
No, Apollo, my government is not short of good plans. No.
By the
Yeah. My government is not short of good plans or good policy.
this is implementation.
No. Execution.
Yeah, execution of that.
That's execution. My government is short, sometimes very dismally, in executing its good policies and plans. So, I need to have some confidence now that this one will be different. Yeah.
Thank you. Honorable Mugore, as we cross the first hour, are you convinced that this time it will be different from what happened in the Bulambuli tragedy, where people were relocated to Chiriandongo and other areas, but finally, actually after like 2-3 years again, there was a disaster, a landslide in the same place, and people died again.
By the way, just like saying that climate change effects are real, it also depends on how huge the landslide has been. There's a landslide that may move up to a certain level. It starts, but it is blocked somewhere. There's one that is huge that will move up to the valley. So you find that people who were not affected the other time, this time are affected. Number one. Number two, if it passes through the very place it passed the other time, it is more disastrous because it finds the whole place with weak resistance. So it goes further up to even the area it had never reached. So sometimes we may think people went back, yes, but sometimes it has gone beyond and has reached where it had not been. And yet, the after effects of climate change continue. So even areas where there were no landslides, you may find landslides doing what? Coming, like I've told you. We have been having such storms in Wuked, but now they are there. Terrible. So to say that this time round, is there anything that is going to change? It only changes if we have got a disaster fund, because disasters will obviously occur.
Thank you so much.
The disaster fund has
so
to
much.
be there, but saying that things are going to change,
I don't know who,
disasters are going to continue
I don't
more
know,
than because
I don't know who has stopped that fund from being put in place.
It is now
Parliament?
It is now Parliament that must make it a point that no budget is going to pass until we put that fund in place. Because disasters this time have occurred more than ever before.
They are more
becoming more severe.
They are more
Yes,
frequent
they are
and more severe.
So at least as Parliament, we should begin from ourselves, from all our committees, that cascade into the finance committee, and we are now in budget framework papers. This must be emphasized.
It must be emphasized, and to emphasize it further, the Right Honorable Prime Minister Robin Nabanja told us she herself saw cracks. The cracks are are actually widening in those areas. They are very, I mean, there is
Imminent.
there is
danger.
tangible evidence to show that there is imminent danger, and that's the reason actually why we have given this issue much.
If the
because
cracks-
we don't want to always see people die, people die just for the same cause. And
If there are cracks during this November-December rains, it is automatic in the February-March rains, there will be more disaster.
Richard, do you think they will
will
have
be
a
more
reason?
disaster.
The government can have a reason now, if at all another disaster strikes today or in the near future, before these people have been resettled or actually relocated to another place.
They don't need to wait.
That's what I'm
If
saying.
the cracks are there, I'm saying they don't need to wait. These people should be resettled, because first of all, can you close those cracks?
You can't.
You can't.
You can't close the cracks. Once they develop, you know that it's going to be a landslide one day or the other.
Thank you so much, our viewers. Like I always say, we treasure your presence and contribution. You can send in your comments. Send in your comments and observations. We are talking about government's response in the Bulyanhulu disaster, and in the next hour we'll be looking at the reshaping of the general court martial, especially after serious and more controversial issues are rising in its jurisdiction, and even more prominent people now are coming up to speak against the continued trial of civilians in the military court. Honorable Stephen Mauku Mugole, Member of Parliament for Kabweri County, a trade unionist, is in the studio. Richard Baguma is also with us in the studio looking at the major events. Now we go straight to what is happening in the General Court Martial, and we will be interrogating the circumstances happening in that army court, with more concerns now arising on the jurisdiction of the General Court Martial, specifically the practice of trying civilians in the military courts. Well, from where we stand now, the several lawyers and civil organizations have actually took their petition and petitioned several courts on the same matter. Specifically, Agola Discourse petitioned the Supreme Court on the same matter. Kiza and Mujisha advocates also planning to petition the East African Court of Justice on the same matter. But the case of Dr. Kiza Besigye has reignited those concerns which have been long-standing, and we continue to ask whether this will reshape the General Court Martial once and for all. Richard, let me get your submission on this particular issue. Some people are saying the Supreme Court is now on trial to pronounce itself on the matter once and for all. Remember, there is still a pending verdict after the Attorney General appealed in the Constitutional Court case of Michael Kabaziguruka, where the Constitutional Court ruled in favor of Kabaziguruka and pronounced itself that trying civilians in the military courts is unconstitutional, it's unfair, and it should immediately stop. But 3 years down the road, the Supreme Court has not pronounced itself on that matter. I don't know what you think, Richard, and what you expect as now the issue gathers more and more dust. You look at that list of lawyers now who are in the Besigye case, both local and foreign lawyers. the attention this case will attract, and the resultant decision. I don't know what you make.
No, I'm not very much of a lawyer, so I will just be scanty on the legal things, and I will probably comment on them. But my position has been repetitive on this, that the arrest of Besigye, the abduction, the grabbing, whatever terminology you want to use, depending on which side of the aisle you are, is not a legal matter. No, it has some legal aspects to it, true, but it's not a legal matter. It's a political matter. Yeah, and as long as it is a political matter, the rest of the legalistics, the legal gymnastics, the legal issues will have to be alert to the politicalness of this matter. So even to collect an array of lawyers from across the borders, I've been told that the African Law Society or something like that is sending another probably 20 or so. This is politics. Yes, political attention must remain to this. I read the other day that the diplomatic community, Western diplomats here, were meeting over the same matter. So while there are important legal issues like you're asking that ought to be determined, I think first and foremost this is a political issue, and therefore giving bail the next day to Dr. Besigye is not a legal issue. Nothing. We have seen many decisions taken which are very contentious, and they have happened. If it means going into parliament to pick out people and switching off power and doing what, if it means getting people with hoods to go into court and remove, it will be done. If it means judges going into exile, it will be done. It is not the first time here. If it means a chief justice getting abducted, our chief justice in this country has been abducted before and disappeared or whatever it is. So we are talking about politics, in my view, and that's very, very important, I think, to keep in our heads. Now, to the legal aspects. First of all, in my mind, the court martial is just a tribunal. It's a military tribunal. I was watching the video of Amin. I sometimes go back and watch these leaders talking, and he was saying, "You take to the military tribunal, and you finish." Don't waste time on this. He was talking about armed robbers. What was it called?
Kondo.
Yeah, you take to the military tribunal and finish. Don't waste time. So we have a tribunal there.
It is a tribunal, but
attempting to put it in law and give it some. See, Apollo, if you are in uniform, there is one center which is your boss. It's the commander-in-chief. It's really serious when that commander-in-chief is a uniformed person. But it is even more interesting when that commander-in-chief is the current commander-in-chief. His personality and thinking about these processes, he expresses them many times, really. So if you say you have a one major here and a one lieutenant, and this one is representing this, and you call it what, fair trial? Excuse me.
So you say it is a political issue, and possibly it will be solved politically. But which way? Do you think the Supreme Court can hold any longer on this matter?
The Supreme Court can ignore you as long as the person who has power in this country wants it to ignore you.
Mugole, speak your mind on this issue. Address yourself to the pressure that is mounting. The pressure is building. The like he said, foreign lawyers are coming in, are streaming in. Local lawyers are also gathering energy. And what can we expect?
Yeah, first of all, I don't know. This is still a matter. Whether discussing it is not
No, it is not.
prejudicial,
It is not.
is not contempt,
It's not
because of
subjudicial.
the various cases that have been filed, the East African court, a number of them. And from the background that though I'm a legislator, I'm not a lawyer. But that said, I would like to say the following. That number one, the arrest of Besigye and the trial in the court martial, if the matter connotates to firearms, then they would say yes, because what we are trying you on is issue of arms. So, and bearing in mind also that whereas Besigye could be a civilian, he's a retired colonel. So, ruling him out of the court martial because of being a civilian would be tricky. More so that even the case that was ruled in favor of civilians not being
Tried in
the military courts was challenged in the Supreme Court, and the ruling has not yet come out.
3 years.
3 years, I leaving that apart. So what do you leave the executive to do if they appeal the matter that they were not happy of and the ruling has not yet come? So for them, they say they should use what actually they used to do, other than them now saying, since we appeal and the case has not been ruled, or since the Supreme Court ruled like this, we have now to go with the Supreme Court. Because at the moment, the Supreme Court ruling does not hold.
The Constitutional Court ruling
The Constitutional Court ruling does not hold because the matter was appealed. So they have to use the status quo.
That's why I'm asking, Honorable. Doesn't this now put the Supreme Court on trial?
It does.
Yeah,
It does, but it also depends on the procedures, whether the Supreme Court will be gagged to make a ruling now during a time of crisis. So they are real on trial. So they can decide to say, no, we are not making a ruling because of a particular individual. We are making a ruling because of a widespread matter that came out to the public domain, that civilians should not be ruled. Judged in a court martial.
I don't know.
It is Uganda on trial.
It's not the Supreme Court,
No.
actually.
No, it is not the Supreme Court. You see, the case of Dr. Besigye it has been a good opportunity to just show that there is a crisis of backlog.
Oh.
Yeah, there is a crisis
The
of
people
backlog
from Kamocha
in the judiciary.
call it Ukurabisa.
That's what it has done. But if you talk to the business community, and these stories come out, but they don't have the same traction as the Dr. Besigye case. The courts are holding trillions of business operations and monies in this country because the cases are not being adjudicated.
Decisions are not made.
Trillions. That has a terrible impact on the economy, but also on the investment environment. So investors become, so that's why you say, oh, what is the investment environment? And they say, oh, it's poor. Part of this is how does it take adjudication of disputes, commercial disputes. And you see, the ones that rise to the Supreme Court are the ones which are really big. So imagine, commercial banks and investments are just on hold. So if you see the backlog, and it is these kinds of approaches, the appeals, where people will delay, they know the thing takes 14 years. A case will take 14 years. In the Supreme Court.
Delayed.
To be adjudicated
Which justice delayed
to its finality.
is justice denied. That's a principle that we all know.
Mugore, what do you expect now? I am, like I said, I'm looking at the pressure that is building up. Martha Karua, former Justice Minister of Kenya, insists that she must lead the defense bench of Dr. Kizabesija and Haji Obeid Kamulegeya. Then the Uganda Law Council refuses to clear her and give her a practicing certificate.
A temporary
Now
certificate.
she goes back. She's being interviewed by international media and elsewhere, telling them this is what actually is happening in Uganda. And like he said, many more foreign lawyers are coming in. The build-up looks to be intense as we wait for the 10th of December when they return back to court. Do you expect this case to somehow shape the jurisdiction of the court martial? Because the contention has been court martial can even try civilians. That has been consistently. Because of that, the provision is in the UPDF Act that if you're found with a firearm, direct will be tried in the court martial. What do you expect from this build-up and what we are seeing?
Just like it was said, my colleague said that who is on trial. Now you were talking about Supreme Court being on trial. Now what of Uganda Law Society? That is another choice.
No council.
I mean Uganda Law Council refusing to give a temporary practicing certificate to Karua. So the whole country is on trial in regard to this particular aspect. First of all, the arrest, the way the arrest was done, that is a trial. And the trial is not only on Uganda, it's also on Kenya.
Yeah. Actually, there is even pressure in Kenya.
Yes.
Citizens that
The trial is also
are demanding for answers.
Yeah, for answers.
Or now security, Ugandan security would arrest someone.
So it is a multiplicity of nations and organs that are on trial in this matter. So that said, there is a probable reshape of what the court martial shall be. That is if the head of state bows to some of the pressures that come with. But our international relations, you know, the government does not want to be in the spotlight on issues of negativity. We want always to be positive, more so if the matter is for the East African.
Do we care really?
More so if the matter is in the East African region. So I know, and as said, whereas there could be legalistic issues, we should know that more of the aspects of the Kizza Besigye matter is a political matter.
But again, Honorable, try to solve a political issue in courts of law is also not a good idea.
It is not, but you know, politics supersedes many of these things. That's why you hear in many nations, even after the change of government, they say we release political prisoners, all of them. But they would have been in prison not because of majorly politics, but because of a legal issue. But at the end of the day, they say release all political prisoners. So where politics is involved, and where somebody still or government has to protect its power, it needs dominion there is legalistic issues will be, for us in the trade union,
Will be secondary.
I tell you in the trade union, an employer will sack you, will dismiss an employee because of the employee belonging to a trade union. But what will come out, the reason for the sacking will not be because you have joined the trade union. They will use any other thing to terminate you, to dismiss you, to discipline you. But the reason majorly is because you joined the trade union. Those are the issues. So even here, anything, because now you can say this was a whistleblower, according to what we are hearing. So it was a whistleblowing to who? To government.
Okay, let me read these messages as we proceed.
So was it whistleblowing because of legalistic issues alone? Was it whistleblowing because of both political and now illegal issues being brought in?
Kali. Hello, Banapolo and the panelists. Thanks for the great show. The poor response to disasters in Uganda is because of the inefficiency on the side of government. We have got some of the best policies which are never implemented because of corruption, incompetence, and lack of proper planning. Our government enjoys doing the post-mortem instead of diagnosing and prescribing treatment to avert death. It's high time they went back to the drawing board as regards the response to disasters. Kirofas Masaba, Raboba Inimbade, thank you so much for watching and for participating. He says, good morning, Chief. Thanks for the wonderful show. If this government really meant well for the people of highland areas like Elgon, Chigezi, Renzori, trust me, even if it meant passing a martial law to have all of them evacuated from those high-risk places to low-risk areas, it would have done. But all they do is specialization in condolences of 5 million and 1 million for the affected people after disaster has happened. Shame on them. Why can't government build housing units like Bugorobi flats and resettle people from mountainous areas? We have a lot of flat lands in Uganda where such people can go and then develop those highlands places for, say, tourism or have agricultural schemes there, but not residential areas, which minimizes human beings' activities that contribute highly to some of these disasters. I rest my case. Thank you so much. I appreciate you once again. And Major Otim Joel is the name. Thank you so much. And he brings in another aspect of utilizing even those we call high-risk areas for tourism. You can designate them as tourism conservation areas.
This is the area which used to house this, house such so people, but it is a cultural heritage.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's have those, let's keep those messages coming in. We still have time to progress and look at these other issues, like the ongoing case of Dr. Kizares Jandobeid Rutare Kamlegea. Quickly, Honorable Baguma spoke about this being a political matter that can actually be ignored. But again, is it you who talked about the East African, he is the one who said it is actually happening in East African countries, then somehow that may not be ignored. I don't know what's your take on that, because if it was the Westerners, the Bazungu and what, we would say to hell with your talk of human rights or what. But this is, we are in the East African community, and somehow we are sensitive to the fact that about what decisions we make.
Yeah, it is me who said it. I said in regard to our international policy, and more especially in the East African region, where we think as the president of this country is the longest serving president in the East African region, and still holding on the issue of the East African Community Federation. We do not want things that cause conflict between the countries within the East African region. And the president always will make sure that he plays his diplomatic role
Cards very well.
very well whenever such issues come.
Allow me throw it now to Baguma, because you talked about it. Do you think that can be a factor to determine the outcome of what is happening here, for the president, His Excellency, or the courts, the judicial, the Chief Justice and others to consider the fact that this can actually ruin our fortunes in the East African community?
There are some voices that have been saying that the president didn't actually approve
The arrest.
Oh.
Yes.
There are some voices that have been saying that he didn't approve this arrest, that he thinks it was unnecessary, this drama. You know, that actually he thinks it was premature. Yeah, if you have
Yeah,
this
those voices
person said, "Oh, I am procuring guns," then you want to say, who is, where is he procuring from? Who is financing? How are they being shipped?
You don't need to rush.
Why are you jumping prematurely? What is the actual threat? And you see, he has been at this for
some time.
For long. So these threats are not particularly new. Of course, you don't take any threat for granted,
sure.
however, but he can be quite meticulous, especially when you are talking about some of these matters. So, and I go back to say, this is political. If it has a political cost, an unnecessary political cost, the president will not allow to have those costs, those unnecessary costs. No.
Like tarnishing our image in the East African region,
he will not allow
creating controversies between Uganda and Kenya.
Oh yeah, he will not allow that so much. It will be managed here. And I have told you, Apple, I said the other day, I said there must be heads that will roll in the security circles. There's no question about that. They are going to.
About this issue?
Absolutely. Resulting from this. You see, it becomes an accumulation of mistakes, of operational mistakes, and missteps. And when they keep on accumulating, they create this fallout, sometimes very unnecessary. You know, Dr. Besje is not going to run. He's not a runner.
Yeah.
He's not going to come back. And if you have evidence on him, consolidate it and pick him. So sometimes we may not be, but if it is going to create political fallout, especially with our friends,
diplomatic rows,
with our friends, it is not. I don't think it is that important to get through that cost. And I think the president is the chief diplomat here, and appreciates this very well. And it will be managed. It will be resolved.
Which way, you don't know?
No, I don't know, but at least it will be resolved in a manner that it does not cost us a lot. Okay. No, I mean, Dr. Besje has been around for how long? Since 1999 or something. Yeah. So it can't be that there is something so dramatic now. No.
And he has been around in more powerful situations than he is today. More powerful situation than he is today. That we as a government and as the president cannot lose friends because of that. Because you're the anchor of the East African Community Union. Is beckoned on the President Museveni. He's seen as the chief.
I think it was last week, he was in Arusha celebrating 25 years of revival of the East African
Why
community.
do you take out the thunder from his celebration? By these missteps.
Okay, I remember when I was a small boy, I was a supervisor in the food and beverage section at Sheraton in Kampala. During the launch of the East African Community, when it was Daniel Arap Moi, Ali Hassan Mwinyi, and the president. I'm the one who served the presidential table on the launch of the prayer breakfast of the East African Community.
That was historical.
historical. I still have those pictures, and I have some certain stories I can't tell up to today. What transpired and how other governments were cagey, and because I was in charge of President Daniel Arap Moi from the room up to in regard to his services. So I know whatever transpired in discussions.
So absolutely the issue, the factor of the East African community and the prospects of Uganda being
President
an anchor
Museveni can lose on anything,
play out in
but
this
not
case.
on Pan-Africanism, not on regional integration. There he cannot lose.
Let me
let it.
let me go back to
He cannot let it.
let me go back to the feedback. The case at Machindi, we exposed the weakness at the Supreme Court. Okay, you did not give us the names, but let me check the status. Okay, Ocean Eyes, that is this, what is on the status. Thank you so much for your comment. Good morning, Salt. I am Kule Michael Xavier from Kasese. If Besigye is a civilian, as alleged, why is he still accepting to be addressed as Colonel, which is a title in the army? Doesn't that make him a soldier? Okay, I will push it to you. I don't know if you can respond.
I think
He's a retired.
No, for me it's an interesting debate. So I really don't pay attention to some of these things very much. No, they take a lot of effort, I think, and time.
Yeah.
If you are a retired officer, you are in the reserve force, I'm told.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah, I'm told that it's like a transitional space, purgatory of some sort in the Catholics. You are not a civilian, but you are not a soldier. You are in the reserve force. You can be called upon to be active.
Like a former bishop, a retired bishop, but you are still.
I think it's something we can explore more further because
but you
according
see,
to the BDF Act,
Apollo, that's why I tell you this
the
is
military
keeps
court is
diverting.
for serving army officers.
But you see, this is what keeps diverting. So there are two people who were arrested together.
Yeah, obeyed.
So, but they are both before the court martial. So this thing of is he a soldier? These things divert us from the core
issue. That's why I didn't debate
Actually,
that.
even the NUP supporters, we are not soldiers. We are not retired.
They are not retired
officers.
Yes, they have just released the people from court martial over around 40 but because they were donning military attire.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Okay, let me check if there's another comment here. It is. Thanks, Honorable Mugoli Stephen, the one and only, our member of parliament of Kabweri County, Chibuku. We are going to add you another term, come rain, come shine. Oh, Nachigozi
come
Sylvia.
hailstone.
Nachigozi Sylvia, he says, he says come rain or shine. Okay, you have a vote even
I have
even before we
we're going to
Before he declares.
before we go in, and Naki goes Sylvia. That one should be that's the Uganda name. I don't know her, but I'm very happy. Thank you very much for that insight.
Okay.
And
Good
for
morning.
supporting me.
Good morning, panelists. I am Bruno, watching you from Kasese district. Where do you see the future of Uganda 5 years to come in terms of democracy and politics? The arrests of opposition politicians in foreign countries and within Uganda. Thank you, Bruno. I think let me throw it back to the panel. It now raises concerns, like from Bruno here. Where are we heading to in terms of democracy and rule of law? You are a legislator.
First of all, we see a number of political parties being registered. And every person trying to register has a cluster of supporters here and there. The country is going to be shredded and maybe thrown back into a nepotic type of support or regional, that because this leader of this party comes from here, let that area support him, whether he will win or not. If he's coming from this religion, let us also support this person because he's our own. So the political future I'm seeing is not very bright, but trying to throw us back into what we came from, of the Kabakayeka, of the DP being Catholic oriented, UPC being Protestant oriented, Kabakayeka being kingdom oriented. This is what I'm thinking, and we are going to go back into. Then the individualistic politics, not looking at now the party, the individual merit is going now to, we are going back to much of the individual merit, because Nandala has come from here, let us support Nandala. Impuga has come from here, let us support Impuga. It's not supporting the party, but the person.
Oh, people will be retreating back to
individual
their
merit.
cocoons.
Yes. The wave which was there during the NUP is not likely to be as it was, because they were like two strong horses at that time. This time there will be one strong horse against a number, regionally. That here we concentrate on this one, here we concentrate. That's what I foresee even in the next campaigns.
Richard, what do you foresee in terms of democracy and rule of law from the circumstances that are playing out?
If the security architecture remains intact, we shall be having more or less of the same.
Repeat that.
If the security infrastructure remains intact,
is there a possibility that they may not remain intact?
There are always possibilities. Sudan, Syria, South Sudan, Kenya the other day, who knew that the children would be throwing stones on the street? So, but the two things that hold, if the security infrastructure and the business interests remain intact, we shall have more of the same.
And what happens when we have more of the same of these?
We will be here. Where we, like this. Where we are. Yeah. If there are changes, which there will be, they will not be major. They will not be major. They will not be major. You see, however, there is one discussion that will become even more important. It's the succession
battle.
That must become, because you can't cheat biology. Yes. So the succession, or whatever they call it, transition, will take even more
energies
and focus
of Ugandans
and the outsiders as well. It will be Ugandans, but all those who have interests here too, geopolitical interests. Because you see, we may not agree, but this country is the weapon that is keeping this region somehow in check. Yes. You see, even when Sudan is on fire, where are the factions going? They come here. Who is the UN and the EU looking at?
Right.
To stand in there? Here. But the biology is a reality. Yes. So that is going to, for me, to be perhaps the most important discussion and consideration.
Thank you, Richard. That is that's very interesting.
The 12th Parliament will have much of its exhaustion on that particular.
Yes, the legislative agenda.
The 12th Parliament is going to handle that aspect. Why? Because there is nothing that.
How can Parliament, play a role in such circumstances?
In two ways. One, if the powers that be want a proper transitional process.
Oh,
They will use
so
parliament.
there could be amendments
Yes.
and reforms in the
New
legal
laws.
structure.
And even budgeting.
Budgeting, the total infrastructure of
In the
the
electoral
legal
processes.
framework of elections, and now the succession, because that is what is being looked at. Not now, because that one I can assure you, for us as NRM, the only person we look at standing in 2026 is President Museveni currently, and he has not said
Who
no.
is not
He has not yet said no. So we are very sure from January onward, when now political structures start forming, we will see us coming up with a single candidature. But the 12th Parliament, according to biology, as he's talking about, will be looking at this.
Why have you taken long to start on,
Because the powers
on those
that
processes?
The powers that be have not yet seen necessity.
Hey.
You know, for me, I'm a very open person.
So you're still waiting for signals.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
And I agree
the
with
powers
you.
that be have not yet seen necessity for us to change.
discuss transition.
To discuss
No, this
transition.
transition is being discussed.
Obviously.
But at the level of parliament,
It's
no.
not being discussed in public.
So for you to say, by the time something comes to parliament, yes, there are very many attempts that we are doing. You saw even the bills that are before parliament touch transition somehow.
Like which one, Honorable?
The ones Norbert Mao has brought, touch, but just I said touch, but do not expressly handle that from this is what we should do.
Okay.
We are still left with all the constitutional frameworks without now going to the legal provisions, making laws specific around that. But
you.
the entire Great Lakes region here will be looking at, we stand tall. The truth be told, Uganda stands tall in the military, stands tall in arbitration, stands tall in conflict resolution. So everybody will be looking at what after.
Thank you. Thank you. Now when it comes to the court-martial matters, when the above wants it to be there for his political opponents, even if you write on water, you are going to talk and nothing will happen. Guys, let's not act as if we are not Ugandans. We know the truth and who benefits from the biases expressed in that court. Okay. He says, if just giving someone a practicing certificate, they are playing hide and seek, what else do you really expect from the Supreme Court? Till General Freeman, Justice Mliagonja, and the CJ gets orders from above, nothing is going to happen, believe me, you. This is so blunt. I mean,
Who's that one?
Who is that one?
let me check the name. I mean, the Major Otim Joel, I hope. Yes, Major Otim Joel. And it's so he reminds us that this is serious. This legalistic
political issues
would not solve anything until somebody somewhere says so.
You should know how our constitution provisions stand, how the three arms of government operate. Who is the head of the three arms of government? It's the president.
So what is the independence you were talking about? You and your speaker.
The independence.
You and your speaker. That
the independence.
You're trying to protect the independence of Parliament in accounting, in self-accounting, and nobody should even poke their nose into your
Somebody
business.
should understand me how I mean this. Independence is in terms of technical work. But if I'm the president, who the very constitution says, without a law, without me signing, appending on that law, it will not be law. So isn't he the chief member of parliament? Because he's the final person to sign?
Thanks.
This is very serious. Even if the Supreme Court makes a judgment that that person should go to the gallows,
it is the president again who says, please pardon that one. Why would you think the president will not talk to the Chief Justice on a matter?
So we should.
Why would you think the president is going to talk to the Speaker on a matter? Who appoints this Speaker?
So Honorable,
Listen, first of all, who appoints this Speaker? Because you say Parliament votes, select. No. First of all, Oseke sits and agrees. They removed the Kadaga the other day. The candidate is this one.
Okay. We are running out of time, but Honorable Mugore.
So independent is on technical issues, but there is no political independence of Parliament.
So you agree?
And no political independence of the judiciary. Of course, political independence is not there. If a candidate who is in the gallows is due to politics, there is no independence.
Thanks for the show, brother. This is Pastor Isaac from Bitere Komitoma district. The government should treat civilians like civilians and the army like army. Civilians should not be put in the army prosecution laws. Please, may God bless you, brethren. Thank you so much, Pastor Isaac. We appreciate the feedback. Besigye's arrest is a political move to divert political direction and time, targeting those who want to change the current government. BP Chakada Samuel Ruka Busoga. Did you get that well? Okay, thank you so much, Samuel. Chaine Senyonjo, my professor, and he's watching. He says, democracy implies freedom to choose leaders from many and freedom to seek to compete to be chosen. Problem for this country are individuals not grounded ideologically, philosophically, or even theoretically in a political leadership. Salutations to my friend Baguma and the MP for sacrificing Saturday leisure for public matters. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. He talks about
Tell him
individuals not grounded in ideology.
Tell him
I don't know.
Tell him my invitation is still pending.
To Kalamoja.
Tell him. Cheyune, my invitation is still pending.
Okay.
You know, Cheyune, we were together in cabinet in Makere. We were in Rumshana's cabinet. Together.
Okay, and he says, it seems planned for the appointing authority to keep the number of judicial officials inadequate, so to keep the backlog and unable to solve cases in time. It's a polite way of leading the country, cross decree. Hey, if I connect the weaknesses at courts to the military invasion of parliament, I am Julius Fonjirwe. We only have 4 or 5 minutes to leave this place. But Baguma, you can react, make a comment. Yeah.
No.
That even what you will call backlog may be a deliberate attempt to keep us in this situation and maybe ruled by decree.
Well, that's stretching it a bit, I think. I think we are entitled to our opinions, of course, and interpretations. I respect that very much. But I think that's also stretching it. I mean, there are real constraints in the judiciary.
So the judiciary,
there are real constraints.
Not in any way independent, in any way.
No. Now that's separate. The judiciary really has real constraints. The lack of money.
Or limitations.
There's the lack of adequate staff. Surely, the lack of.
Is it accidental? Is it deliberate?
No, but the budget. Okay, so which
the budget?
Let's look at the other departments of government. I want you to tell me one in public university,
which has
the staff, or even which has 60%. I think the highest they were looking at the other day as 50%.
We lack money. We don't have the resources.
We lack the resources. We lack the people. We also lack the move. I don't know what to call it.
But we manage to steal 10 trillion every year.
We still lack the leadership. Because these people need to be. Yes, we still. The other day I saw we are celebrating that it has reduced to 9 point something. We are really going to celebrate that it has reached to 9.7.
Reduced.
Fundamentally. Let's conclude with this message here. Good morning, Apollo, and and the panel. The way Uganda is handling the issues of Karua's practicing license is not good at all. Are they fearing her, or government has considered that the arrest of Dr. Besigye and company was wrongly done. Send my greetings to Dr. Masaba and whoever has dental problem. Okay, he says to Chisugu. James Indibade, thank you so much for those comments. I can see people are typing here messages, but time
is being politicized.
Let me finalize with this one here. The constant arraignment of civilians in military tribunals is illegal and uncivilized because its sole intention is to prosecute political opponents. Uganda's image in the international community has been bad, and the abduction of Dr. PC has made it even worse. We are losing the trust of even Kenyans, yet Kenya has been our biggest trading partner and a good neighbor just because of the crude behaviors of our military on its soil. Kelefas Masaba in Bari. Thank you so much. I'm concluding. My producer. This Amiri says thanks for the show. He's appreciative
Let's just see
of what we're doing. Just 1 minute, Honorable, and we close the show.
Yeah, I want to say, first of all, like I started, I commensurate with my people of Kagum, who lost property, who lost lives, and also for the falling of a gallant son of the soil in the name of Honorable Bob Fred Wasugiria. I have been out of the country, brethren, but I'm now back. I will be with you during this time when we are sending off our father of Greater Palisa, who served as a member of parliament, served as a chairman of the Greater Palisa districts now, which are 4, and also as an RDC. In fact, this also is to send our condolences to the family, but also ask government, whereas I'm in touch with them, that they should commensurate.
Thank you.
With our
Richard, your parting shot, just 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you. This thing I'm putting on
is
for the Civil Society Alliance for Nutrition in Uganda. We globally, this week, won 2 awards. There was the Global Award by the Global Civil Society Nutrition Platform. We affiliate together. The one for media engagement and for social media outreach. So I am a very happy man, yes, because locally here, some careerists, you know, we have careerist civil society players and some ideologically, the president called them ideologically not particularly proper oriented civil servants. Have been fighting us because nutrition and food security are not a civil society matter. No, they are global security issues. But what the global powers who want to control our food security and nutrition, they come through our civil society careerists and some not particularly well ideologically oriented civil servants. So they were saying, oh, there is no platform in Uganda, but the globe is giving us 2 awards.
Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you so much, the panel. Thank you so much, Honorable, for finding time this morning. Thank you so much.
Even with the cold.
Yeah, even the cold.
But we should give some packets of kawunga to Honorable Mogore to
by the
Udua Rose, thank you so much for the message. And
you have to appeal.
Is also has also sent in another message, but because of time we cannot go through all those. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your contributions in terms of feedback. Let's catch up again next Saturday in another exciting edition of the Dialogue. We wish you well. We pray for the people of Budud and elsewhere. May God bless you and God bless Uganda. Good afternoon.